In my original KMPH Fox interview, I spoke out against sex tourism. Actions speak louder than words. And you can tell my hatchet job angered a lot of sex tourists. Just look at the haters on the comment boards. The guy who called himself Jesus admitted to his sex tourism. He tried to get money out of the whole thing too, but his insurance didn't cover acts of God. Sex tourism is a primary source of something called kompromat. Kompromat is a Russian word for video, audio, or pictures of someone in a compromising position. Ever since the Cold War, the KGB and its successor, the SVR, has used kompromat to blackmail public officials and military officials into making decisions that harm American security interests, both here at home in America and everywhere around the world. An example of kompromat would be if a U.S. military judge in West Germany was caught having sex with an East German boy on camera by the KGB. The KGB could threaten to expose that judge to the American families of the homosexuals he court-martialed. Remember, homosexuality was a crime in the Army during the Cold War. The KGB could then blackmail that judge into releasing Soviet spies and imprisoning innocent Americans. Once that judge got back to America, he faced life in prison if exposed for treason. But he was well-connected, friends with lawyers, businessmen, and state government officials. He had the trust of many authority figures and was known to invite them to sex tourism spots like Bali. Who knows how many of them were photographed or recorded in compromising positions? Over the course of 50 years, that former military judge could have the whole town government compromised. When that judge died, he had numerous Russian photographers in his phone contacts. Western Union transfers to Russia were photographed in his house. A sword and mask hung on his bedroom wall, disguised as an act of war. But for who? The American flag was by the front door for show on the 4th of July, but in his bedroom was no eagle. The bear of Mother Russia covered his mantle. The sailboat motif around his house, the miniature lighthouse in his guest room, all pointed to his dirty secret, harboring Russian spies. I was an easy target for Russian intelligence. As a hitchhiker, I got rides from strangers and stayed at their houses all the time. But why would they send Joseph Galfi, whose KGB safe house and massive network had a 50-year history? They couldn't have known he would die, but you can be certain they knew Galfi's network would use every dirty trick in the book to discredit me. So the guy who spoke out against sex tourism, Russian intelligence's primary source of blackmail, gets framed up and discredited. That solves their problem, right? So foreign intelligence can use compromised individuals to build huge networks of compromised prosecutors, judges, and law enforcement. They can then use those networks to discredit and destroy people who speak out against kompromat. They can even use them to rig elections, compromise police outside the polling station, compromise state employees counting the votes, and compromise senators and judges gerrymandering and redrawing the voter maps so some districts hardly get represented per capita at all. But foreign intelligence can't get compromised individuals into the federal government because the CIA screens federal officials with a guilty knowledge test or GKT. With the GKT, they hook you up to a polygraph and watch your response to a series of pictures. A trumpet, a house, a little boy, a flower. Oh, hey there, Mr. G. You have an unusual response to that little boy. We're going to have to ask you some follow-up questions. And that's how we keep pedophiles out of the federal government. So you'd think that we'd have case officers with GKTs to screen state government officials too, right? But we don't. If foreign intelligence agencies wanted to, they could get a compromised individual into every state court, prosecutor's office, and police department in the country. So what if they can't get a CIA agent when they can get his whole state's judges, prosecutors, and police chiefs? It's kind of like triple locking the front door when you left your back door wide open.